Another very important data type in Python is Python lists. And the Python lists are nothing but ordered sequence of objects that can be from any data type. This any data type might be confusing, but let's create our first list. My list. And in order to create lists, you need to use these square brackets, and inside you put the list items. For example, A, B, C, and D. Okay, so these my list have 4 items at the moment. These are called list elements or list items, and they're from type string. Okay, but I said that they can be from any data type, so we can do my list 1 and replace this to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if we want to print the entire list, we can use print my list and also print my list 1. If we run it, we will have the list. Now, the lists in different programming languages are called arrays. So if you have done Java, if you've done C++, if you have learned those languages or JavaScript even, the lists are known there as arrays. So the most important thing is to remember always to include these brackets, and the items should be separated by comma, and they can be from any data type. Now, even this is possible. So 1, 2, 3, A, 4, 5. We can still use the elements inside that can be from any data type because it's ordered sequence of objects. Good, here it is. Now, if we want to access an individual element, list item, so what we can do, because they're ordered sequence of items, that means that they have their indexes. Same as strings, the indexes start from 0, 1. Okay, let's say that we want to print from my list 1, we want to get the third one. Okay, this number 3. So 0, 1, 2. Okay, so print my list 1, the item that's a position number 2, and it should give us number 3. Okay, there you go. Great. If I want to get the A here, I will do my list 2, and I will get the letter A. Perfect. Now, if we want to get the size of entire list, we can use the length function. And remember, print length of my list. Let's use the first one, my list. So 0, 1, 2, 3, actually it starts from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remember, the length is not working like indexes, it always starts from 1. So we have 4 items. But what if we do this? So I have 4 items, so that means, let's do with the first one. 0, 1, 2, 3. And if I do this, my list of 4, and if I do this, I will get an error. Say last index is out of the range, and that's true because for this index, we don't have anything in the list. Now, I said that lists are another data type, but they are also a data structure in Python. And the data structure is very important. Data structure allows us to store the data into an organized way. That's a container or like some sort of box. So data structure is a very important concept. So that's pretty much it for this lecture. I hope you like it. And lists are very important because now we have the power, instead of storing one item inside the variables, we are having a list of different values. How cool is that? Okay, let's talk about list slicing in the next lecture. List slicing is same as string slicing with few differences, and we're gonna talk about. So in order to slice the list, we need to use start and stop index. And remember, the value of the stop index will not be included in the output. And also we can use start, stop, and step over. Okay, let's create my list variable that will have this list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think it's enough. And let's slice these first 3 items. Okay, how we can do this? Very easily. Print my list The start should be 0 and the end should be 3. Remember the third one, this one will not be included in the output. And there you go. Now you know how to do the list slicing. Okay, what about if we have another list, and let's call it list number 3 here, and let's increase this one, start from 0, let's spice this thing up, and go to 7, then we 8, 9, 10. 10 items, I think so. It's perfectly fine. Good. Let's make this one. Perfect. Now, if I print, if I want to do step over with the size of 2, I can do this. My list 3, start from 0 position. So include this one and omit the end. So that means go to the end and do the step over of 2. And let's see what we'll have. So I will have 0, the first one, step over 2, 2, step over 2, step over this one, include this one, and the last one. Beautiful. Now this is happening because we omitted the, which one? The stop index, but the step size is 2. Okay, now what about, we don't need the copy first. What about the lists? The lists are different from strings because the lists are not mutable. This means they are, we can actually change these individual items. So let's change this one to be -1. So how we can do this? First, we need to use my list and get the position, get the index of 0, right? And store there a value of -1. Now, if I print my list of 3, and if I run, I should start from -1. Here it is. Then 1, 2, 3. And this is very bad because we can change the original string with the original list. With the strings, we could not do that because the strings were immutable. So one way to solve this, to avoid losing this original copy, is to losing this original string is to create a copy. And how we can do this? Well, it's very simple. We can say string list here, copy list. And let's do another one first. Let's do another example, string list. I don't want to touch this anymore. Okay, let's do 1, 2, and 3. And we can do copy with slicing, very simple. Do this, string list copy, and so this variable will be the copy of this one. So using the string list slicing technique. So I'm gonna slice it, I'm gonna start from 0 and I'm gonna omit the end and I'm going to the end, right? So the stop index will be omitted and this will mean grab the whole list. So if I do this, print string list copy, I will get the same one, this one. Very good. Now, if I want to change the string list copy, for example, this guy here, number 2, I need to do 1 and change it from 2. Let's change it to 2, like this. And let's print again. We need to print to see if the changes are there. Good. Now, if I copy the original string list, I should not see any problems. So string list will be unchanged, and that's it. This is how you can copy a list. But someone will argue, well, this is very easy. Let me just copy this one. I will create another one like this, and I will name it string list 1. Okay, and I can do string copy 1. Oops. And create a copy just simply by assigning the value of the first one. How cool is this? Now if I print string list copy 1, I should be able to see 1, 2, 3. Good, here it is. But now if I try to change, for example, the number 2 or number 1 to none, so index 0, let's say none here, and do again, printing the same, we will see we will have none, 2, 3. Very good, this is working so far. But if I print the original list, this, oh, then we have a problem because the original list will be affected. And you know why this is happening? Because both of these lists now point to the somewhere in the memory to the same values, to the same list items. And because these are just a reference, the variable names are just a reference to these values somewhere in the memory, this is happening because changing one thing will affect the other one. And that's why this is not recommended, okay? Or you just say, don't copy lists like this using the assignment operator. And I have here, so string list, the indexes 0, 1, 2, they point somewhere in the memory, but both of them, they point to the same one. So changing this or this to something, to a new value, it will affect both of them. Okay, so this actually comes from the book that I have, and it's on Amazon, so you can grab that one if you like. So that's pretty much it about list slicing. So I hope you learn how you can perform list slicing using a start and stop index with step over as well, and why these lists are different from strings, because their lists are mutable, not mutable, sorry. They're mutable, means that we can change, and the strings were immutable. Okay, the in keyword with lists. We're also going to talk about the multidimensional list. So this is a string list with ABC items, and we can use the in keyword to find an item if an item is present in the list. Very easy. And it will always, same as the strings, will return either Boolean true or Boolean false. So print, so C in string list. Now this should return us true. Okay, but if we try to find something like capital C in the string list, it should return a Boolean false because there's nothing there. And this is very good if this string list is enormous. So we can easily find if an item is present in the original list. Now multidimensional list, on the other hand, let me just do this. Or I can copy this, the in keyword. And I can do this here so it can be easier for you. So the multidimensional lists are lists within lists. And this is a little bit harder to explain. So let's create a two-dimensional list. And this two-dimensional list, I can do it like this. So the first item will be 1, 2, and 3, then comma, the second item, 4. Instead of 3, I've typed 4. Oh, this is good. I need a break. Okay, so as I mentioned, the two-dimensional or multidimensional lists are lists within lists. And there are other data types that can do this type of behavior way better than this, but let's do it. So two-dimensional lists are lists within lists, and here, this is the first item. You can consider it as a first item because I can rewrite it like this. I can just go like this. But for visual representation, the other one was better, okay? Nice. So now how we can access the elements inside this matrix. This is also called as a matrix. So how we can access for example, the number 2? Well, we need to use double square brackets. For example, print, and I will go my list, and I need double square brackets. Now in the first square bracket, we say which of these two items we want to grab. So we want to grab the first one, and the first one is at position always 0, and we want to grab the number 2 And the number 2 from that one is 0, 1. Good. So that will bring me the item. Oops, I forgot to. So name error, my list. Oh, this is two-dimensional. I'm so sorry. And I also forgot to do it to close the print function. And unmatched. What I do here wrong? Unmatched, syntax error. Yeah, I've added one extra. That's it. As long as you see my errors, you're not gonna do them as well. Okay, so there you go. Now you know how to get this item. So if I want to get the item number 6, how will I do it? So if I do this, let's first delete this one. So I want to grab the first item here. So 0 first. Okay, let's grab the first one, and that goes in the first pair of brackets. And then I need the 6. So 6 is at position 0, 1, 2. And if I do this, if I run it, I should have 2 and 6. Good. There you go. Now, this two-dimensional list or multi-dimensional list, known as matrix, can be used for different applications like image processing or machine learning, okay? But you don't need to worry. At least now you know how to create two-dimensional arrays. Lists, sorry. If I say arrays, I mean lists, because in other programming languages that I've learned, they are known as arrays, okay? So that's pretty much it. Okay, now it's time to look into some lists methods. And they're called methods because we can actually call them from our list. So they belong to someone. So we can use the dot notation to call them. So the methods are nothing but functions, but they're methods now because they can be called by their lists. So the first method that we're gonna see is the append method. And this method will add an element to the end of this list. So if I use my list dot append, and let's say 4, and print this my list now, let's see what will happen. I will get 4. Now this, be careful, this method modifies the original list because it adds one more item. Now we can also use the insert, and this insert method will insert the original, sorry about that, will insert a new element into the list at the specified location. So this actually method takes 2 arguments, and these arguments, first is the position and the second one is the value. Okay, so let's add to my list insert to what? At location 4, I want to insert a new element 5. So why 4? Well, we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So in the 4th position, I want to insert this one and print my list. Good. Let's see. There you go. We have 5 now. Now the extend. This method takes an iterable as an argument. Let me just write the syntax. I'm going to use the same on my list dot extend, and as an argument here we can pass an iterable 6, and this should be in quotes, 6 and 7. Okay, so what is an iterable? An iterable is a list that can be looped over, and this is an iterable because we can loop. We're gonna see how we can loop using the loops, for loops, and etc. So we can loop through these individual items, and the extend works like this. Because we pass this as an iterable, it will loop through these items and it will add to the original list. And if we print the my list, now the my list should be extended by these 2 new items. There you go. And this is a very interesting method, right? So an iterable is something that we can loop over or iterate over its items. And we will cover those loops in future. Now, this next method is very interesting, and it's called pop, because it will remove an item from the end of the list. Okay, so if we do this on our existing my list and say pop, it should remove the last item, 7. And let's print this one, my list. So we should have 6 now instead of 7. There you go. Now, if we want to remove a specific item from a list, we can call pop method with an index. So if we want to remove the item number 0, that this 1 will be popped. We can do that as well. So let me just, oops, what happened here? How did this happen? I copied this one. So pop 0, and it will have a new list from 2 to 6. Okay, so the index here indicates which of the items we want to pop. Okay, now next one is remove. This method is used when we want to remove an item based on its value. For example, let's remove this 4 here, and so we are not removing the item based on its index. We are removing the item based on the value. So be careful. That's a different thing. So 4, and yep, like this, 4, and we need to print my list, and we should have a new list, 2, 3. We don't have 4 anymore, 5 and 6. Good. Now, this method, just like the previous one, will modify the existing list, but they don't return anything, right? Because if we do this, if we grab this one and say print and wrap this one in a print, you'll see that it will not return anything. Here it is, none. The other one returns the list, but this one does not return the list, okay? Now, clear method. This method will clear or remove all of the items from the list. And be careful when you use this method because it will just basically empty the entire list. And if we go run, there you go, I have an empty list. How cool is this? Now, index method. This method will return the position. Here it is, I have a new array here. This method will return the position or index of the value we pass into the method as argument. So I have this one. Let's do print new list index of 3. What do you think will happen? We'll return the position 2 because 3 is located at 0, 1, 2. Sorry, 0, 1, 2. Same. It's the same list, but with different name. Okay, now you know about the index method. Let's go to the other method. And well, the index method can be a little bit more complicated because it can have 2 more additional or optional parameters. So these arguments can be used to speed up the searching process because here when we do this, find the index of 3, it searches the entire list. But because we know that 3 is going to be here, we have ordered, this one is ordered list based on our logic. So we can do this. So we can say 3 and say start from position 0 and go until number 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, and it will stop here. It will not go. Imagine this list is have like a 100 of values, so it will go until the index 3, and again it will return the same result, right? But what happens if we like specify a range that the index is not there? Let's see this. So if we go look for number 3, for index number 3, and look but from 0 until the position 2, and this will throw a value error. 3 is not in the list because the range we set here, it couldn't find the index 3. Okay. So next method is called count method, and count method will count how many times the same value occurs in the list. That's why, where is the count? Here it is. I have 1 one here duplicates. So, and this is possible, right? I didn't tell you, but we can have duplicate value with the list. So actually we need to use the print, and my list, actually call this one my list one dot count of 1. So we should comment this one out just to get rid of this nasty error. There you go, we have 2 because 1 occurs 2 times in this entire list. Good, so we counted how many times the same value occurs. And now the next one is sort, and this will sort an unordered list. Okay, so how we can do this? So let's say numbers list dot sort and print numbers list. Look here, I didn't call the print here because this one modifies or sort out the original array. List. When I say array, I mean list. Here it is. Now unsorted is sorted. How cool is this? Now next one is called copy, and we can use this method when we need a copy of some list. So for example, let's create a copy. I'm just gonna copy this one here, gonna put it there, and I'm just gonna name it like, we don't need to, we can use the same one. I was thinking that we can use this. A new list will be equal to the numbers list dot copy and print the new list. Let's see what we have. And we have the order one because because we sorted, and I explained that. Yeah, so I can put it here again. I can, and now that will rewrite the order. Okay. So let's do it again. Here it is. I created a copy from the numbers list. Good. So this is when we need a copy from a particular list. The reverse method is the next one, and the reverse will reverse the entire list without sorting. So numbers list 2 dot reverse, and we can print the numbers 2, numbers list 2. So it will reverse this one without sorting it. So it will start from 4. Here it is, 4, and it will end with 3. Good. So that's pretty much it. Now we can combine different list methods when we want to achieve. For example, we can sort this one first and then reverse it. Let's see how we can do this. So numbers list of 3 dot sort first, and then we can reverse it. Numbers list 3 dot reverse and print numbers list 3. Let's see what will happen. And here it is. Now it's sorted and reversed. So it starts from 7 and it goes till 1. I hope you learn a lot in this lecture because these are very important lists methods, and they're called methods because the list is actually calling them using the dot notation. And that's pretty much it for this lecture. Let's continue with lists, and these are some tips and tricks that I'm going to show you that developers use on Python lists. So we can reverse the entire string using slicing as well. Okay, so I'm going to create num list here, and that list will have 3, 6, 7, 1, 5, and 2, 2, and 4. So we can reverse this using the slicing. So num list, and we can reverse it like this, -1. So let's check it out. There you go. Now the list is reversed. How cool is this? We can also copy the list using the list slicing method. So I'm gonna use the same one here. I'm just gonna recopy it again and paste it here, but instead of colon -1, I will just use one colon. And here, before that, I need to store it in some new list 1. Right, so I'm gonna call the new list 1, and I will have the identical copy of this 3, 6, 7, 1, 5, 2, 4 list. Good. How we can generate a new list using the range function. This is very important. So we can generate and populate a numbered list using the range function. For example, you want to create a numbered list that goes from 0 to 50, and you can easily do that using the range function. Num list 2, and say list here, range, and this is a range, is a function that is built in Python. So we say from 0 to 50. Now let's print the num list 2. So this list and range, both of them are built-in Python functions. Look at this. How cool is this? I have the list without even typing anything. So I can generate a list very fast. Now, the join method here, use dot, will take all of the items from an iterable, like a list, and join the values into a string. So I have here usernames, and I want all of these usernames to be in a string, but I can use some sort of separator, right? Like a comma. So joined usernames equals, here I'm specifying the, and I will make a space here, specifying the separator, right? And then dot join, and I'm putting here the iterables. Iterables can be a list like this. So if I print now the joined usernames, look what I will have. All of them will be joined in a string separated by comma. Now, very important, list unpacking. This in JavaScript, if you have learned, it's called concept of destructuring, but in Python is known as a list unpacking. It's very useful. When we want, I'm just gonna copy the entire thing. When we want the values that items actually of the list, when we want these values or items to be stored in different variables, how we can unpack this? So I'm gonna create a variable Andy, I'm gonna create another variable Andy Carol, and I'm gonna create another Steve, another Jason, and I'm gonna get the entire list here. So we can get rid of this. Now, what I've done is the process of list unpacking. So I unpacked all of these items into the variables. So if I do print Andy, Andy will have the first item value. Carol will have the second item value. Let's check it out. Andy should have the Andy. Okay, now if I go to Steve, let's first Carol, then Steve, oops, then Jason at the end. All of them should be, all of these values should be unpacked in the variables. How cool is this? But sometimes can happen that you only want to unpack, let me show you, you only want to unpack these two values into Andy and Carol, and the rest of them to be into, again, a list. And you're using star rest notation like this. This can be anything here, but star should go there. So if I do print Andy and Carol, I would again have Andy and Carol, so let me just show you. Here it is. But I would also, if I print the rest, I will have a list with the remaining values. There you go. So now you know why this unpacking is so popular. and easy to do. So let's give a breathing space here. Now you know how to reverse the entire string using slicing, to copy using slicing, to create or generate new lists using the range function, join method, and list unpacking. So that's pretty much all of the tips I want to show you for now that developers used on lists. Let's talk about none in Python. So none in Python can be a keyword that is used to define no value at all. So null value or no value at all. So the none is also a data type that is from the class none type. So I run this and I have the class type, right? So the type of no value is from the class no type. So the none simply means absence of value. In JavaScript, we do have null, like this, null and none, but here we do have none only, okay? And none is not same as zero or empty string, and it can be very useful in some scenarios. For example, you want to create a program, and at the beginning of that program you need a variable just to be declared without value, like this. So you want to create the variable but no value, because none is absence of value, none, not at all. So you want this variable because later in the program you can add a value to that variable, but at the beginning you need this variable to be like this. So that's why no value equal to none. If we print, it will be none, and the type will be from the none type. Okay, so before we move to something else, just want to make sure that none is not same as zero, right? It's not same as empty string, and it's not same as false, Boolean false. Okay, comparing none to none will return true, and comparing none to anything else will always return false. Okay, that's pretty much it for none. Another data type, another keyword, another very important data type in Python. So this data type is known as dictionaries, and it's a very, very powerful. So the dictionary, same as list, is a data type and data structure, meaning it is used to organize and access the data. The dictionary is this. The dictionary uses key value pairs. On the left side of the column is the key, and the value is on the right side. Now, what makes it this unique to lists is that the keys needs to be unique. We cannot have repetition of keys. For example, I cannot have another car key here with a different value, right? So that's not possible. The values on the other side can be from any data type. It can be from string, numbers, floats, booleans, whatever, or even another list here, like this. But the keys, they should, or 99%, they're strings. The strings are very important because the strings are immutable, and the keys, they don't need to change. They need to stay or remain same. That is why usually you will find strings here. You can use numbers, but the strings are more descriptive. You cannot use a list as a key because the lists are mutable. They can be changed over time. Okay, so enough talking about. Now, the dictionary always start with these curly brackets. As I mentioned, key and value pairs, they're separated by commas. On the last one, you don't need to have a comma, but even if you do, it's not going to throw you an error. Now, before the Python version 3.7, the dictionaries had unordered data type, but now they are ordered. Okay, so first things first, just going to make space here. How we can access these values here? Well, in lists, we used indexes, but the indexes, we don't see them, right? But in dictionaries, we know that we can use the keys in order to access the data. So first, let's print the entire dictionary. Let's see what will happen. And there you go. We have the entire dictionary together with the curly brackets. Nice. Now, if I want to get the value for it here, I can do print this dictionary, and inside the square brackets, I can pass the key, and that will give me the value. Now, I can do the same for model. I can do the same for the year. Okie dokie. Now, the dictionaries are very simple to, or very same to JavaScript objects. If you have done objects in JavaScript, if you have covered any JavaScript course, then you will know that this dictionary is the same as JavaScript object. Okay, so the values can be from any data type. They can be integer, floats, strings. Now, for example, if I want to access the Toyota from here, from this dictionary, well, I can do this. Let's first do print dictionary 1, right? And I would like to access the brands. And if I do the brands, I will get the whole value, which will be a list. Now, from a list, we know that lists are ordered by their indexes, starting from 0, 1, 2. So if I want the actual Toyota value, I will need to pass the index of 0, 1. So the 1 here. And now, instead of the entire list, I will get only Toyota. How cool is this? So the list can have values from any, the dictionaries can have values from any data type. Okay, now let's go back to the list a little bit. The lists, let's create a new list here, can have values from any data type. And that includes these dictionaries. With this email. Car, true, let's say brands. Oh, let's copy this one. Okay? And let's do this one more time. One more time, one more time. Okay. So the list can have values from different data types, and those values can be even a dictionary. I can create another dictionary here. I'm going to copy the same thing. And instead of brands, instead of Ford, I will say Ranger. Instead of Toyota, let's do Kluger. Instead of BMW, let's X5. And the year should remain the same. And here, let's change it to Boolean false. Right? Now, if we want to access the first element of this list, which will be this dictionary, we need to write this query. Print new list of 0. And this will give me the first element of the list, which in our case is a dictionary. There you go. We have the dictionary, and we know it's a dictionary because it's in these curly brackets. And we have key value pairs. Now, what if we want to access the value of the car? That's simple. So now we have the dictionary, and inside the dictionary, we can use the values to access the keys to access the values, right? So I will do another pair of brackets, and I will say car here. Good. That's it. So I got true back. And also I used double quotes here, but you can use the single quotes, whatever you like, okay? It's nothing gonna change. Now, what if I want to get the brands? Let's do another print here. Copy the same thing, go to here and say instead of cars, brands. Let's see what will happen. So I will get the Ford, Toyota, BMW. Now, if I want for some reason to get the brand that is the position 2, 0, 1, 2, which will be BMW, right? I need to do another pair of brackets and where I put the index. So 2. And if I run this, now I will get the BMW. So I know this is getting complex, but I assure you if you spend enough time, thinking about lists and dictionaries, everything will be clear. So the dictionaries are very powerful because they always have unique keys. No duplication of values, that means. Now, the values on the other hand can be anything we want, any data type. It can be booleans, lists, integers, floats, strings, whatever. The keys are 99% strings because the strings are immutable. And the keys, they need to stay unchanged, right? So the key in the dictionary has to be unique, no duplication of keys, right? Another way to create a dictionary instead of using these curly brackets is to use this syntax. So let's do new dictionary equal dict. So we're using the function dict where I say car equal Tesla, and let's print the new dictionary. Oops, and let's see what we'll have. I will have a curly brackets with a key of car and value of Tesla. This is how you can create, but this is not very common. So yeah, not many developers use this syntax. Okay, in the next lecture, same as with lists, we are going to use, or we are going to learn about the most common dictionary methods. Okay, I hope you're ready to learn about these dictionary methods and Python in keyword that we can use also with dictionary. So we're gonna go through 10 dictionary methods that are very useful. But first things first, let's do this Python in keyword. Now, the in keyword can be used to check the existence of a particular key, right? If the key exists, not a value, if the key exists. So how we can do this? Let's do print. Let's check if the year, if the year is actually in this dictionary. Dictionary 1 actually, okay? So in is the keyword, right? So if I go print, I will get true. What if we say years here? I'm just gonna copy this one and make it another one. So what will happen if I search for a, here it is, I will get false. If I search for a key that doesn't exist here, I will get false. Good. Now, that's pretty much it. Let's start with the dictionary methods. Now, the get method will take one parameter and that parameter will be key. So we can pass in one parameter and that parameter should be the dictionary key. And this method will return a value of that key. So if we pass in cars, it should return true. But let's pass this year here, okay? So I'm just gonna copy this one. We're not gonna obviously use this dictionary, but I'm gonna say this dictionary dot get, and inside I'm gonna pass one parameter that will be a car. Actually a year, we already said a year. And there you go, I have 2023. Nice. If the key that we're trying to get does not exist, we will get none. For example, I'm just gonna do one here more, and let's say cars, and I will get none. So I will not get false, I will get none. So this method actually can accept additional parameter, which will be the value. And whatever value we are passing here, it will be returned if, for example, we are looking for cars, does not exist here, that key, and the value we're gonna pass here, for example, it can be array list of something, bus, for example. So now if I run it, instead of none, will get me that second parameter. So this is like a backup. So what we want this method to return if it's not found, okay? Or you can say not found instead of none, okay? There you go. So that's the get method, and I should use this one and put it in the get method. Good. Now the second method that we will go is the keys. This dictionary method is used when we want to get all of the keys that exist in the dictionary. Now, all of the keys. And this method will return a view object. And this view object will contain all of the keys as a list. You will see what I'm trying to say. So print and say this dictionary one dot keys, and it will return a view object. But this view object will contain, like this dict keys, that's a view object, and it will contain a list of all of the keys. Good. Now we know how to grab all of the keys from our dictionary. Nice. So another one, actually this is very useful when we want to combine, for example, when we want to check if the key actually exists in this list, right? So we have car, brands, year. So we can combine the in keyword, right? So we can say like this, car in this dictionary. And because car is actually exists in this view object, it will get us true. If I search for cars, I will get something else like false. Okay? So we can combine this one because the list of keys can be very huge. So we can say, okay, is this key belong there? And if it's true, then yeah, you can play around. Now, next one is values. So this method, similarly like the other one, will return a view object with all of the values. Okay? So let's do this. So what we need to do, I'm just gonna copy this one, and instead of keys, I'm gonna change it to values and run it. So I will have dict values view object, and inside a list of all the keys, true, Ford, Tesla, right? So I have a list and another list inside. Good. So that's pretty much it about the values. Now the items, the next method, it's called items. And the item method is a little bit more complicated because it will return something that we haven't covered so far, and it's another data type called tuples. But we will discuss about tuples in the next few lectures. So we will discuss as another data type, but let's go through this one. So this method will return a view object that contains key value pairs, all items. So and key and value pairs, but it will return them as tuples. You will see what I'm trying to say now here, and I'm going to say items. And the tuple syntax is with this bracket. Here it is. See, we have a list of tuples inside. Okay, we will learn what tuples means in future. Now, clear. You should know that clear will remove all of key values pairs from the dictionary, and we don't need to pass anything, just to call it. I like this method. Okay, so if I do this, now I will get none, right? So if I print this dictionary now, one, because this returns nothing, I will have an empty dictionary. Cool. That's why I've created another copy here. So that's a dictionary too, so we can test more methods. Copy. Now you can use this method when we want to create a copy of a dictionary, and the copied dictionary will be independent of the original dictionary. And that's what we want to achieve, right? We want the copy to be independent from the original, so we can manipulate that one. Okay, so let's store it dict copy in a variable and call it this dictionary 2, not 1, the copy. So we're gonna call this method, and that's it. So if I print dict copy, I should have the same thing as this one. Let's check it out. There you go. I have a car, true, brand, Ford, Rivian, whatever. There. Good. Now pop. This method takes one argument. Okay, let's do this. So this method will take one argument. I'm gonna show you, and let's call it here first. So this argument should be the dictionary key, right? It cannot take the values on the right side, but it should take only one of these keys. So the pop method will remove the value based on that key. So if I pop the year, it should remove 2023, and let's print this dictionary too. So we see actually if we popped the year, here it is. We don't have year 2023. Nice. Another important method, it's called pop item, and it's used to pop or remove the last key value, key value pair from the dictionary. So the last one, right? And let's call this one here and say pop item. It doesn't require us to pass anything. So it will remove the last one. Which one is the last? This one. But if we use dictionary 2, yeah, okay. Let's see, because here we already changed the dictionary 2. We popped the one. Now let's see what we'll have. We will have car, true, brands, this. Good. So pop item will always remove but we need to print it out. That's why we don't see the result. I get slow today for some reason. So we were left with car true. Why? Because the previous pop method removed the year, and this should remove this one. Okay. So in the previous version, this method will remove a random key value pair, but now, yeah, it will remove only the last one. Now, update. This is a very cool method because we can use it when we want to update a value based on specific key. For example, we want to update this one based on the key. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna have emails now coming. That's boring. Okay, so I'm going to use this dict copy now, right? Because I already changed a lot on this. Okay, now let's do this. So we can use print dict copy dot update, and I want to update the year to 2024. Okay, and here I need to use the curly brackets and say year to 2024. That will be the delivery date, and we need to print this dict. I hope you understand why I'm using dict copy instead of dictionary, because we already popped an item and we used the pop and pop the item. So yeah, a lot of things are removed from this one. And dict copy. Now I should be able to see this one, 2024. There you go. We have updated, but you need to be careful. If we want to update something, we always need to check the keys, okay? But if we make a mistake, we put a wrong key there, what will happen, it will insert that key value pair that we are trying to update, it will insert as a new one. For example, let's do this. Years, or I don't know, delivery 2024. Now it will look for the delivery here as a key. It will not find it, and look what will happen. It will add after the year 2023. It will add the delivery. So be careful when you use this one, because if you make a mistake, with the key, because it will not be able to update the value, it will create a new key value pair. Good. Now set default is also very useful method. Why? Well, the set default will return the value of a key if that key is in the dictionary. So it will just return the value, something similar to the get. Okay, so with get we return the value, but set default, okay, let's do this. I will say year here equal this, or dict copy dot set default, and I will say year. Good. Now if I print year, I will have the value back. Just the value, 2024. Okay, cool. But this method, same as the update method, if the key cannot be found here, this key that we pass in, then this method will insert a new key value pair. Okay, so just be prepared for that. So there you go. Now you know the Python in keyword, how that can be used in dictionaries. We can also combine it here if we want, and all of these important dictionary methods. I hope you liked it, enjoyed it, and this is just the beginning. We're gonna learn much more complex things than this. Let's learn about tuples in Python. And tuples in Python is another data type. This is one of the 4 most important data types. After this, we're gonna learn about sets, and it's also very important. Now, tuples are very similar to lists, but there's one big difference. Lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. Okay, so let's create a tuple, new tuple, equal to 1, 2, 3. Now, these brackets are used for tuples. Remember, lists, let me give you a reminder, lists use these square brackets, and dictionaries, I'm gonna say dict, use these curly brackets. In tuples, they need to use this one. Now, same as list, print new tuple. Let me just print the new tuple first before I explain what I was trying to say. Yeah, here is the new tuple. And same as list, we can access its items using indexes because tuples are ordered sequence of items. And once they're created, we cannot change them. So what's the difference between tuples and lists? Well, the lists are mutable. We can change the items, the values, of this. But in tuples, this is immutable. Once it's created, it's like that, okay? So let's first access new tuple. And we need to use the square brackets in order to access and pass the index. So I just want to access this guy here. That's why it's 0. So they start also from 0. I should get here 1. Cool. There you go. Now, somebody will ask me why we need tuples in lists. Well, tuples are more strict, right? Tuples give us more stability. And tuples are immutable. For example, if I want to say new tuple, if I can type it right, so new tuple on the position 0, I just want to add a new value, let's say 0, right? So if I do this, I will have type error saying that tuple object does not support item assignment. Very good. I cannot change this item to a new value. That's it. That's why the tuples are very popular. And we can get the length of the tuple using the len function, same as with the others. So len new tuple. But first things first, let's comment this one because this will stay there and it will not allow us to go any further. Here it is, 3. Yes, I have 3 items. So tuples have advantages over lists, but also they have disadvantages. So the advantages is they're safer compared to lists because they can stay unchanged. And the other advantage is they can be processed much faster because they're ordered. But not everything is perfect for tuples. The disability is that we cannot mutate the tuples once created. We cannot add new values, right? We cannot reverse them. We cannot sort them. So there is no flexibility whatsoever. Now, remember when we used dictionaries, this is a dictionary, right? And when on the dictionary, we use the method called items. So let's do again this one, print car.items. And I told you that we're gonna learn very soon. Here it is. It gives us this view object called dict items, which is a tuple, right? There you go. And this one is another. So this method will return a view object that consists all of key value pairs as a tuple. Good. I also mentioned that the keys in the dictionary must be unique and we cannot change it, right? These dictionary keys, They need to be unique. We cannot change them, and that's why they're usually strings and they're descriptive. But because tuples are also same as strings, unmutable, we can also use them as keys. So how I can use here a key, tuple as a key. So 222 should be here like this, not minus. That's why I have a mistake. Sorry about this, guys. Good typing mistake. So let's add here a key that will be from type tuple. I'm gonna use the brackets here, and inside I'm gonna say car, and another one, say SUV, good. And then let's put an engine here as a string, 2.5 liter engine. So those from USA, the liters, you don't use that measuring unit, okay? Doesn't matter. 2.5 engine, we're gonna call it, okay? So this is how we can create a key to be from a type tuple. But how we can access this guy here? How we can access the values from a dictionary when we have a tuple as a key? Well, it's so simple. I can copy this one, and I can say car and square brackets, and inside these square brackets, I'm gonna pass the key, which will be our tuple. And if I print now, I should get the value back. There you go. Now I have 2.5 engine. Now, similar to lists, we can also do tuple slicing, right? Let's see here, tuple slicing, and let's create a new tuple here. I'm gonna name a new tuple 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's say new tuple. Let's give it this guy 2 here, and say new tuple 1, and we're gonna do the slicing. We're gonna start from this first, or we're gonna start from 0, and we're gonna go till number 2. So I don't want to go till to slice all of them. And let's print this boy here. Print new tuple 2. Let's see what we have. Remember, the last one should not be included. Good, because 0, 1, 2. The number 3 is not included because this was the stop index, this was the start index. Good. So we can do the slicing as well. We can also do tuple unpacking. Okay, how we can do this? So I'm gonna copy this guy here again, and I'm gonna give it number 3. Okay, and let's say A, B, or just do this 1, 2, 3. And I want to do the rest. To do the rest here, let's see, equal new tuple 3. And there you go. Now not ABC. Now 1, 2, 2, 3 will have 1, 2, 3 values. And let's give it more here, 5 and 6. And the rest will have 4, 5, 6. Good. Let's see here. Print 1. Just gonna copy this, and 2, 3, and print the rest at the end. Let's see what happens. So I should have 1, 2, 3, and then I should have array list of the rest of the remaining values, because I unpack only these 3 here into these 3 variables. Good. But now, what's funny thing, the rest is an array. So what we can do is actually, we can change it. For example, rest of, let's say here, 0, 1, 2. Rest of 2 will be equal to 7. Let's do this. Let's try and print the rest again. Let's try if it's gonna work or it's gonna backfire at me, this one. Okay, here it is. We can change it, okay? Because this is a list, and lists are mutable. We can't just reassign new values here because they're not tuples. And that's pretty much it for the tuples. So the tuples have this syntax here with these brackets. We can, once they're created, it's ordered sequence of items. We cannot change them. We cannot assign new values to them, right? And also, when we use the items with the dictionary, the output had this view object of tuple. And we can also, because the tuples are immutable, we can use them as a keys in the dictionaries. And this is how we can access them. Okay, we can do slicing and we can do unpacking. So I unpack these three values into these three variables, and the rest of them, using this star rest syntax, I grab it inside this rest variable. But this rest variable, when we print it, it's actually list. So we know that lists are mutable. We can just change any item that we want to a new value. And that's pretty much it. Okay, now we have only 2 tuple methods, but we have a lot more when we do the next data type in the following lecture, and we will have there a lot of methods to go. So just run this one just to clean the console from the previous lecture. So the first method that we are going to do is called count, and this is very easy because it will return how many times the same value occurs in a tuple. As you can see, I have one here at the first index and in the last one. So we can say print new tuple dot count, and we pass we pass there the value of the item that we want to check how many times it occurs, and it should be 2, right? There you go. Now let's do the other one. The other one is called index, and this method will return the index or position of the element. So if I go with 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, the index will be 3. So index, here we pass in the value, right? And the index should be 3. There you go. Now you know the 2 of the methods that are used in tuple. And also one more thing. For example, when we try to find the index of a value that is repeated in the tuple, what do you think will happen? For example, the value that is repeated in this case is only 1. We have 1 at the first place, 1 at the last place. So if we run it, the index will be 0. So when it finds the first occurrence of this value that we are looking for, if it finds it here, it will stop. It will not go there. But if it finds it here, again, it will stop and it will not continue. There you go. So it's not going to print both of the indexes, right? So it will print only the first one that we'll find. And that's pretty much it. Let's talk about the last data structure or last data type in Python, and that is called set. Sets in Python are an ordered collection of unique elements or objects. Sets are iterable. That means that we can use loops on them. And what's most important, because they're an ordered collection, they don't allow us to have duplicate values, right? Now, let's create a new set here. We're gonna learn a couple of things here. And let's first learn how to create a new set, and say new set. And we start with the curly bracket, same as dictionaries. Oh, this is very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if we print this new set, come on, and if we run it, there we go. The set is there. Now, the thing is that because this is an order collection, you cannot be sure in which order the items will appear, right? Because this is a short, they appear in this particular order, but the collection, it's a unique collection. There's no duplicates. Even if we put a duplicate here against 7, and if we run it, the output will be different because it will include only 1 7. The duplicates will be removed. Okay? So I'll add this method here. We will learn about methods, but I have add this method because we can use this method to add a new item into this set. Let me delete this one first. Okay? So I'm gonna say new set dot add, and let's say 8 here. And then I'm gonna print out again the new set, And I should see here the number 8 added to the set. Great. The add method is working. Now, the values in the set are located somewhere in the memory without any specific order, but that will not cause a problem. Why? Because there's no duplicate. The order is not that important at this stage. So how we can access them, right? How we can access these items? That's a funny story. Oh, everything is capital, but I'm gonna leave it. Doesn't matter. So we know that the sets are unordered, so we cannot use index. And if we try using index, for example, let's try new set, and with the square brackets past the number 0 means index 0, we will have some sort of error, the type error. Set object is not subscriptable. So we cannot do this. The best way to do is to use a for loop or some sort of loops, but we have not covered loops at this stage. So the only way we can just get away for now is using the in keyword, right? So in keyword, but first I need to type this one, in keyword. Okay, so I'm gonna say print if 4 is in, actually without this, in new set. Now 4 is there, it should give me a true. There you go. Now if we type 9, let's see what we'll get. So if we type 9 in the set, we will get false. Right. Now this way we can check if the item is there, but we can loop through all of these items and get them using some of the loops, right? But we will cover that in future. Now, very important thing, we can grab the length of the set using the len function. Let's do it. And remember, we added one more, so it's 8. It's not actual 7, the first one, because we modified this one. Okay, that's why we have 8. Now, that's all nice and dandy. Okay, so what we can do here, let me just give breathing space here. So how we can generate a set from a list. So here is a list. We know that it's a list because it has a duplicate value. This is allowed, and this because of this bracket, right? Now we can create new set from this list if we use the built-in function called set and pass as a parameter the list. Which list? The one that we above. And now we can print the new set. But look at the beauty. Now the new set will be a little bit different than this one. It will only include the unique values. They're not the duplicates. And this is very good. When we want to clean a list with all of the duplicates, we can just convert it to string, right? And we will learn another way, how we can convert now a set like this, or like this one that we created, but I'm just gonna redo it again. How we can convert this one to a list. It's very easy. Again, so I'm gonna say new list. Let's use 1 here. I don't want to confuse you anymore. Let's use 1 here. And the new list will be equal to list. This is a built-in method in Python. And I will get the new set 1. And now I can print the new list 1. And now remember here, we should get the output with the square brackets. There you go. How good is this? So we can go from set to list or from list to set without any problems. So these are the basic things about sets, but we will learn in the next lecture, we will learn a lot about their methods, and there are a couple of methods that we will go through. And this is pretty much it. This is the last data structure or data type that we're gonna learn in this course, and it's very awesome. I'm so happy that you're here, and I will see you now in the next lecture where we're gonna cover these set methods. I hope you're ready because we have a lot of new methods to learn, and these are all set methods. Now we learned the add method in the previous lecture, but now we have 11 more to cover. So I'm going to use these two sets and reuse it as much as I can here. So I'm going to copy it and paste it in each method, because all of these methods will do something and they will change the original set. Okay, so the copy, we can create a copy using the copy method. Okay, so how we can do this? Now let's create here new set 2 that will be equal to new set dot copy. Okay, so I'm gonna create a copy of the first one, and I'm gonna store it in a variable called new set. And if I print new set 2, not 12, I should be able to see this one here. There you go. Now you can create a copy and reuse it. It will be totally different or separate from the one above. So anything we do to this copy, it's not gonna affect the original one. Nice. Let's give a breathing space, clear method. Now the clear method, on the other hand, will remove all of the set elements. Good. So we are going to say new set 2 dot clear. The one that we just created, we're gonna clear it. Okay. So print new set 2. Let's run it, and we should see empty set. There you go. Nice. So difference. Now these methods are very tricky to understand at first, so you should rewatch the video if you don't understand it, because I'm gonna give you a definition, we're gonna do example, but they're very similar and yeah, easily mistaken, and so you can rewatch this part of the part 3. Okay, so this is a very useful method because it returns the difference between the two sets as a new set. So it returns the difference. This does not mean that it will include all of the different items from both of the sets. It means that it will return a new set with items that exist in the first or original set. So I'm just gonna copy these two here because I don't want to scroll up and down all of the time. Here it is. Now let's do this. Print new set dot, I'm gonna use this one, dot difference. So I'm using the difference method, and here inside I'm gonna pass the argument, and the argument is this new set 1. Okay, now I'm printing immediately because it's gonna return a new set. So let's see what will happen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I told you, it means that it will return a new set here that we can store it in a variable with the items that exist only in the first set. So these items are the same for both of the sets, and it will only return the different one, but from the first set, not from the both one. So because these are different, if you go like this and these are different, but it's not gonna include both of them, only the ones that are different, but from the one that calls this difference function. Good. So there you go, the difference method. Now, difference method update, it's very similar to this one, but this method will modify the existing set, this one that it calls. So we use this method when we want to remove the items that exist in both of the sets. The difference method return a new set, and the difference update will remove the unwanted items from the original set, from this one. Okay, so and it will update this one. Now difference update, that's why it's called update. So it will return the same result, and it give us none because we don't need to print it, we just need to print the new set because it updates the original set. And look at this now, 1, 2, 3. Now this set is being updated and it contains only the different values, okay, from both of the sets. Good. Now discard method. Let's see what we can do with this discard method. So discard method will remove or discard the specified item from a set. So let's copy this one here, paste it back here, And let's say that we want to discard the last set item, which is 7. Okay, so new set dot discard. Oh, this origin spike. I'm very lazy to turn off the notification email, right? So print new set, just gonna run it, and it will have from 1 until 6. Here it is. It removes or discards the specified item. Now, the one below, it's called intersection. Now, this intersection method will return a new set of items that contains the items that are same between the two of the sets. The new set will have items that exist in both of the sets. Let's copy these guys here, right? I'm gonna need them again. Bam. So I'm just gonna say print new. We can store this one in a variable if you want, because it returns, this method returns set of items, intersection. And here we pass in the new set 1. And let's see what we will have. Boom, 5, 6, 7 only. So intersection, it contains the items that are same for both of the sets. These are the same items, okay? Good. Now you know what intersection method does. Intersection update. Oof. This method is pretty much similar to the one above, but it will remove the items from first set that are not present in the second set, right? And it will update the original, okay? So I'm just gonna copy the entire thing here. Boom, boom here. And instead of intersection, I'm gonna use intersection update. And I don't need to print it now anymore because it will return none. Because remember, it updates the original set. Now, I just need to print out the new set. Good. And I will have the pretty much identical result as the previous one, right? But it updates the original set. This one doesn't update the intersection. The intersection update, it will update the original set, okay? So it's no longer gonna be the same. Good. Now, is this joint? This method will return 2 values, Boolean true or false. So it will return true if the sets we are comparing have different items. So if the sets we are comparing have a totally different items, it will return true, and it will return false if at least one of the item is the same for both of the sets, okay? Let's figure out this one. So I'm just gonna copy these guys again here. Let's give a breathing space. Put it there, okay? And now let's print new set dot is this joint, like that. And we're gonna pass the new set 1. Now, what you think will happen? False, of course, because remember, it returns true if the sets we are comparing have different items. But here, 5, 6, 7 and 5, 6, 7 are the same for both of the sets. So that's why it returns like this. Now, this will be true only. I need to copy this one, say a little bit to play around with this one. So we need to remove these 5, 6, 7 from there, right? And now these two sets doesn't have any values that are common, okay? And if I do this now, print, boom, I will have true, all right? Good. Now, next method, union. Very easy method, okay? Let's do this. So this one is very easy to understand because it returns a new set. Remember, a new set that contains all of the items from the original and specified set. So from both of sets actually, okay? So I'm gonna create this one like, just gonna copy the one above again and print new set dot union. In here, I'm gonna pass the new set 1, okay? And let's see, we're gonna have a union. Nice. So I have 1 to 11. Remember, duplicates, they're always discarded in sets. How cool is this? Now, is subset, this method returns Boolean true or false. It will return true if all of the items that are in the first one, in the first set, are included in the second set. So all of the items, if all of these were mentioned here, so it will return true only then. Okay, now I'm just gonna copy this and I'm just gonna give it breathing space like that, and I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna use it 5, 6, 7, right? And this will remain the same. Now I'm gonna print out this, and instead of union, I'm gonna say is subset. Now, what you think it will return? It will return true because I forced to be true. So it will return. It returns true because all of the items that are in the first set are in the second set, or the one that we are trying to check if it's subset. Nice. Now, is superset? Similar. Okay. Now I'm just gonna copy this thing here, paste it, and change this to is superset. Good. But let me explain what's happening here. This method, again, like the one in the above, will return true or false, right? But it will return true if all of the items from the specified set, this one, from the specified second set, exist in the original set. That's the one. So if all of the items from this one now are here, okay? Otherwise, it will return false. Now, what you think when I run this will happen? True or false? False, because all of the items here, they don't exist. Only part of them exist, this 5, 6, 7, okay? So we can force this to be true if we change it a little bit, okay? Now let's do here to force it to be true. Just gonna copy, I'm gonna copy everything, but I need to change the sets. So here I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, then I will have 5, 6, 7. Let's do 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, now if I run it, I will get true. Why it's happening again? Well, because all of the items in this set now, when I do this, and actually this is not marking here because I don't have the same spacing. Now it should work. Let's see, there you go. Now all of the items from this specified second set exist in the original. And there you go. Congratulations. This is the end of part 3. I hope you learn a lot. We have learned about lists, tuples, sets in this part. Another data type, I think so, Boolean, doesn't matter. So we learned a lot and you should be proud of yourself. And if you like the content, please share it, subscribe it, comment below. Subscribe if you want. That's optional, right? So please do whatever you want. So take care and thank you for watching.